a seat to water for the night, but you're already fast asleep by the time I'm turning out the lights. So I lay down beside you with my mind that's on the run, planning out tomorrow's dance before I see the morning sun. And I think, baby, I'm so glad you're home. Yeah. And I'm glad I'm home too.
Something in the water taught me how to crawl. Something in the water taught me how to fall. Something in my
Hey, welcome to another episode of Something in the Water. I'm Sean Clark here with Uncle Dave Griffin.
Glad to have y'all. Our guest this time is Mr. Charlie Kavoossi and Jessie Dean.
Glad to be here.
Of the Betas.
Yeah.
The Betas. What's this? Oh. I guess you can see.
Yeah, they got these awesome hats, merch.
Thank y'all so much for the gifts.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm going to take mine off now.
Oh, there was a hat beneath it.
Layers.
Hey, well, good to have y'all.
No, we're excited.
So y'all are a, what you call, the Betas is a duo? Or is it
For
more-
now, yeah.
Yeah, I think actually it I never thought about this till right now, but similar, I guess, to how you guys kind of operate. I feel like you guys are essentially at its core a duo, but
Yeah, and then you can add on.
We definitely have went into this with the idea of having like our local community be the extremities of the band when we do full band stuff or albums. But there's no set roster of members. It's just people who are
Right.
Come
available
and
and
go.
ready
That's
and would be
very
fun to play with.
organic.
I like working like that
Yeah.
It's more
too.
fun.
Just- yeah,
Yeah.
you can switch it up. And
We're
Yeah.
not bound, so much. It's like an old band back in the 70s, Delaney and Bonnie and Friends, Bonnie Bramlett. Delaney and Bonnie, they were husband and wife, and they just had these people that just come out. Leon Russell be there one night, and
Oh, wow.
somebody the next. And,
Eric Clapton or whatever.
Eric Clapton the next.
Is that all?
That was their kind of, it's an organic mix. That's
He's
good.
still alive, right? Maybe he'll come play one.
He probably will
Send him a
see this
letter,
podcast. And say, where do I
Eric,
find
we're
them?
ready when you are. Let's do this.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes though when you have that format, like you open up that chance to all of a sudden someone's filling in for a weekend or something, and you just have that chemistry, and you're like, what is this? Like, we need to keep this, and then
Yes.
all of a sudden you have a drummer now or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. So, happy tax day to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of enthusiasm.
Good.
So let's go back now. I always love to hear the history, how it all started for you individually, music-wise and everything. Jessie, we'll
Yeah.
start with you. Where you're from these parts, aren't you?
I am.
You're from
Yeah, I was
the
born
Golden
in
House?
Brunswick Hospital and lived on St. Simon's until I was about 18. And then again in 2017 for a year. But other than that, I've been in Maryland for almost 10 years.
So,
yeah.
so you, when you graduated high school, you kind of moved up
Oh,
to Maryland?
yeah, it's a long story, but I'll give you the Cliff Notes version.
Dave, let's go. All right, now it's Tuesday. You're
Yeah.
3 years old.
Because you never know what little thing will pop up.
Right? It's a whole thing. So the guy I met when I was still in high school was from Salisbury /Pocomoke in Maryland. And I left for college. I lasted about a semester. I was like, no,
Man, you just got something in common.
not doing any of this, and I'm gonna probably leave now. But I didn't want to come home right away. I was like, I wasn't gone very long. Maybe I go somewhere else, just for a little while. And so I moved into this little like barn apartment with him, and that year, which is my first winter away from the swamp.
Yeah.
It snowed so much it broke 250-year records. It was like a freak event, and that's when Livy happened. So I have 2 kids. Yeah. Livy is going to be 13, or she's 13. And my son Hendrix is going to be 12 in May.
Awesome.
So yeah, then you're kind of tied to the area, and we moved back and forth a couple times from that year in 2010 with the snowstorm to now. We live in Annapolis now together, and have for 6 years in that
I think
place.
about 6 years, yeah.
Awesome.
But we've been together for almost 10 years now. And I just kind of got lucky that he's good at everything, and it's real easy for me to slide in, and I'm going to enjoy some of this for myself. And that means I get to sing, and I work as a hairstylist, have my own studio up there too.
So did you always know you were a singer?
Oh yeah, I would have much rather done that than hair, but hair pays the bills, so that's what I do. Yeah.
When was the revelation that her stepmother is off camera, so we'd say hey to Nancy. Y'all, everybody say
Nancy.
hey. Hey,
Nancy. Nancy's been in my life since I was probably met her when I was 3, I think.
Wow. Okay.
But her daughter and I are 3 months apart when we played together at the Village on St. Simon's in the 90s. And her and my dad have been together for how many years? Almost 28.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So you actually opened your mouth one day and sang. And
I think I've always always resonated. I always sang along in the car, and my dad plays. So when I was like 12, he started teaching me how to play guitar, and we'll go to the open mic night at Palm Coast, and kind of got comfortable in being on stage. But that's like a lifelong thing. I'm still not great at that. But
She's good at guitar too, but she won't tell even herself that. She'll tell
no one wants to hear that.
She is. She's better than she'll ever let anybody know. But
I'm as good as somebody who never practices would be, so not that good.
Well, you put the work in. Like the first time I heard you play, she's like playing like minor 7th chords and like hammer-ons and pull-offs, and she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, yes, you do. Maybe you don't know like the songs in your head at the moment, but you're good.
biased.
Well, it sounds like already she's better than me.
No, I don't think so. I have a hard time playing and singing at the same time, and I get real nervous. So I think with my voice, at the very least, I know how to sing something. I can make that sound. But if I have to find the strings and the muscle and the calluses, it's just not there. But it could be, maybe someday.
Well, it all gets
Maybe next
easier
year.
as you go.
That's right.
You become, every time you do it, it's starting to be that old muscle memory. And then when you get a certain age like me, you don't give a damn anymore
Right.
about anything. You just say,
I'm going to play this guitar, whether you want to hear it or not.
I used to worry about what people thought,
My memory's slipping, so I have to rely on muscle memory. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know
That's what he
that
says.
I'll have, if I'm not thinking about it, I'm just playing songs, I'm fine.
Right.
But if I start thinking about it, I'm like,
Wait, what's
wait
next?
a minute.
Exactly the same. Man.
Now what's next?
You blow a word.
And I'm like, I hope my muscle memory, and it
do
does. I'm
it.
like, oh, great, that was an A minor. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Or like the words. You ever had that where you're like, I don't know what I'm about to sing?
Yeah,
you're
and,
like,
then it comes out right when you get there. You're like, whoa, what was that?
God, that my mouth.
Yeah,
is.
like I didn't even know what song we were singing anymore.
Where am I?
I have these. That's why I have my eyes closed so much, because I'll look around the room and I'm like, I bet they're talking about this.
I get distracted.
And I'm like, what am I doing?
Who's driving the ship?
I get caught watching the TVs in the bar. Sometimes I'm like watching like a football game. And I'm like, I should probably look like I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah, or somebody else. The crowd will be watching the TV as you're simultaneously playing. It'll be touchdown. And everybody will go, "Yay!" Right as soon as I finish a song.
Exactly.
And I say, Thank you
very much.
Never mind.
That's an art. You have to learn to finish the songs when the touchdown happens.
Everyone's got their back to you. You're like,
If y'all been together about 10 years now, so that would have been 2014-ish, 13-ish.
It's not quite. I think we met in 26.
almost 10 years. Yeah.
2016 we met.
Going into, it's like 9. This June will be 9.
Next year would be 9.
Oh.
And by 2016,
Just feels like it's been so long now.
This June will be 8. This June.
now
Really?
Together, yeah.
Charlie's side of the story. Let's hear your background up to 2016.
There you go.
Okay. Like musically speaking?
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
I picked up a guitar one time, bored at my parents' house when I was a kid. I was 12, and I was like, it was like a summer boredom day, and I was like, oh, this guitar thing. And then there was this little book next to it in a drawer, and I immediately had no idea what was going on in the book that was trying to tell me, and it something in that confusion piqued my interest in it, and so I asked my parents, and I took community center guitar lessons from this old lady named Fran. She taught us G, C, and D, and one time this kid came in with this pink electric Squire Strat. And I was like, what is that? And he's like, this is my electric guitar. And I'm like, wow. So then I wanted one. And so I got a Squire Strat. Mine was black with the sparkly pick guard. And
As it should have been.
and I was into Ramones and punk rock stuff at the time. So I started learning punk rock chords and power chords. And my best friend Sean at the time I was like, dude, ask your parents for a drum set. We should be in a band. So he was like, okay. So I got a drum set and we started a band at 13. And, just played whatever we could figure out how to play. And the first gig I ever had was in 6th grade. We played our middle school dance. And I went to this private school, which was it was completely unheard of to have even a band. I was shamed for having
Catholic
shaggy
school.
hair.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Catholic school.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of it, and then it kind of just evolved. I did a few years with that band, and I started taking private lessons, and got into the different kinds. I went from Anti-Flag and Ramones and Misfits to more Weezer and the Shins and the Strokes, and so I started a different band and took different kinds of guitar lessons and jazz a little bit in college, and then I had a band called Think, and then that was kind of the band that really opened up the sincerity of playing and singing. And then after that, I moved up to Boston for a year with the drummer of that band. He went to Berkeley, and I was working as a cook at a bar nearby. Mm-hmm. And I just learned a lot about all the people going there and the real life careers that you can have. Because when you're not in an industry music or film, you think either failing or you're famous. You don't see this gradient of success. So that was a wake up to be oh, you can live a life doing music and you don't just have to be famous. So that was cool. So then I moved back and I had a 7-year hiatus of cooking. I got really into doing that. And
cool.
Sous chef for a couple places, and then I kind of just became my own band called Kavoossi because it was easier to just write. I did a studio album just by myself and had some hired guns, and then I found a band based off of after the album was done, and that's kind of just been happening as we go. And then right at around the time of 2016, I joined a band called the Joey Harcum Band, and did a tour, my first national tour as a bassist of all things, which was kind of random that I was asked to do that, but I'm the guitarist for that band now. But that's about where everything kind of lands by the time I meet Jessie.
So where did you get the name, the band name Kavoossi from? Where did it come from?
That's just my last name. I don't know if you already said it on there.
He called his one band Kavoossi and the Typos because it's Persian, so there's 2 O's and 2 S's. And 98% of the time it's spelled wrong, even on his paychecks. And the
God.
board.
That's probably
He won an
nightmare.
award in like local town voting kind of thing, and they spelled his name wrong on the trophy. It says award for Kavoossi and the typos, but it's spelled wrong.
The pun is that all the posters and the marquees and
that's
stuff,
spelled wrong.
they spell it wrong and then write again the typos.
In the newspaper,
Yeah.
what did the one person call you? They called you something. It was a totally different name.
Oh no!
Kavoossi.
So a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, his name's Scribe or Aaron, but he goes by Scribe. He's a great musician, super cool, unique sound. Anyways, when I first got his phone number like years ago, it was like probably 2 a.m. at a bar, and he jokingly put my name in as Charles Barkley in his phone. And when we were doing like over the pandemic, we did the thing called the Wood Tree House at our house, and it was kind of just a way to put some music out there. It was like a live stream and then recorded. And
I think we
put
all
out.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were kind of the first ones to do it. I had just gotten into doing like live streams with multi-cameras and stuff before the pandemic hit. So
He'd been working on building this setup for like 6 to 8 months before the pandemic
okay.
happened.
And so it hit, and
Must
I'm
have
like,
been
wait, I know how to do this.
prescient.
So we started this thing, and because it was kind of more produced than everyone else, the newspaper wanted to do a thing about it, and the lady who was doing the article, got my number from Scribe, and he just shared his contact. And so in her phone, it was Charles Barkley. And so this newspaper article comes out, the Wood Tree House, Charles Barkley started this thing. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is not me. Why? So that's the long story of that. But it was I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I make the paper and it's not my name.
Yeah. That seemed to happen to me a lot, and I have a much simpler name. But it'd be like anytime anything with fanfare, I finally won a tennis match in high school. And here it is, Garfin.
Garfin. Andy Griffith.
It used to happen to Barney Fife, too. It'd piss him off. That's pretty cool.
I was in a duo one time called Jangled Harp. And a guy and a girl, me and a girl. And we went and played in Dahlonega. And on the posters and everywhere, they had put mangled hand. Like, what?
You imagine?
The mangled hand. And they're like, ladies and gentlemen, the mangled hand. We'd come out and play our little soft folk songs.
How does something like that happen? I mean,
like a metal band.
you were in contact with somebody up there.
I mean, it wasn't like on the flyer stuff, but like it was like when you walk up and there's a post like, here's the schedule. It's like mangled hand.
Evidently, it was somebody said, who's playing this weekend? They said, it was, they didn't have anything to refer to, and they said, mangled hand.
Oh my God, that's
Jangled Harp.
Mangled hand.
Mangled hand. You wrote a song called Jangled Harp.
I did, yeah. Yeah. So, let me ask y'all this. When you first met each other, how did that come about?
That's actually a pretty good story.
That is a cool story.
Yeah.
We have a mutual friend. Well, I'll backtrack it a little bit before that. I was running an open mic in the area I grew up in, and one time I did a coat drive there because it was just like freezing, and I thought it'd be a cool thing to do, whatever. So we do this coat drive, and then our friend saw that, and she was like, "Dude, that's so cool! Like, I wish I could do that." I was like, "You can just like find a bar in town, have some musicians play, and bring some cardboard boxes for some coats, and like talk about it online." So she did, and I was part of that, and
So the children's dad, Neil, he and I played music together as well. I actually met him at the open mic night, and music was what brought he and I together.
not at my open mic night. But
Correct.
a different
On St. Simon's when I was in high school.
Oh,
That's
okay.
how I met him.
All right.
Fast forward, we had relocated to Salisbury and had been living there, and he and I had separated, but we still had a couple obligations that we hadn't finished yet. Playing and volunteering at my friend's coat drive was one of them. But that day, our set was at like 2, and Charles was the last one of that lineup that day. When my son wakes up deathly ill, coming out of both ends, I'm like, well, I can't go anywhere. So you go do that, and I'll do this. And then when he came home, I was to go help my friend Melanie with the rest of her event and try and be supportive. We were supposed to be there all day. But anyway, simultaneously, his car broke down on the way to that gig. And the boyfriend of the girl throwing the thing has to go pick him up, brings him back. Night goes on, or I guess I should say Neil comes home, and then I go in, and he's playing when I got there. Okay. And so then we had the mutual friend. She ended up having quite a few beverages that night and needed to be driven home, and the rest of the car had coats in it. So Charles is completely stranded with all of his gear, and I was like, you can put your things in my trunk if you would like to do that. And we just maintained a friendship. At that point, I had plans via the separation to move back home, had the green light for that for months and months and months. And then at the last minute, that was just all of a sudden not the case anymore. And he decided, you can't do that. So I ended up staying. I got myself an apartment in Salisbury and had to stay for the kids. He just didn't want the kids to leave the state. I was just kind of stuck. And Charles was my only friend for a while. But neither one of us really wanted to be in a relationship. So it was just a friendship for some time. And, I'm a single mom. So I didn't introduce him to the kids and, bring him into the fold right away.
So were y'all, as that friendship developed, were y'all starting to work together musically as well, or did that come later?
No, I was very much a single mom, so I didn't have time for anything at all. But I would play at home, and when I would go to visit him in Annapolis, from Salisbury, it's like a 2-hour drive. So I would go see him play and have whatever days I got kid-free, we would hang out. And he would come visit me, and that went on for, I don't know, like a year. And then I moved back home for a year. And when I told him, hey, I actually have the opportunity to go home now, their dad had changed his mind. Now it was okay. So I was like, all right, well, me and the kids are going. And I thought he would just want to break up. And he was very sad. I was like, all right.
I supported it.
We can try. I figured we'll stay together. If it works out, cool. And if not, at least we tried. And then I moved back to Annapolis. We moved in together a year after that. And yeah, that's where we've been in Annapolis.
Yeah, and
since then. That's about when we started playing together more and we were living in the same house.
I think, was our first gig at that hotel in Baltimore?
Yeah, that was a rough one.
We were playing this, I had this residency at this, like, was it a Marriott or something, a Hilton? I don't know, some big, like right on the bay, or the harbor of Baltimore. And one of those places where you like load in through the hotel kitchen and through a loading dock and like walk forever. And
parking is like
you play in this
battle.
giant echoey lobby chamber thing, and no one cares. And they're like, "Why is that guy in the corner?" But it was much less painful. I was like, Jessie, do you want to come sing with me? Like, it's not going to be like there's a million eyes on us if we don't do great. And so it was cool, a cool like chance for me to actually get to do some music with her and to bring her on, to start doing things. And that was the beginning of it. And then I think once we got comfortable with a couple of those, we were like, okay, I think we can. And then for a lot of times it was just like, doing stuff together as a cover gig.
And he's just always in the house playing the same songs over and over again. So you learn them eventually. You listen to them enough. And like, I can sing that. Let's go do this. But no, I'm very lucky that just because of my proximity to him, and he happens to be really easy to collaborate with, and he makes it fun to play live and has all the gear and knows how to do his own sound. And, I don't have to do much but just show up. Yeah. I feel very fortunate.
But she has this voice that is needs to be acknowledged. And for a long time, we didn't have an official thing. So it would be like, Kavoossi with Jessie Dean. And I got tired of that personally. I was like, this shouldn't be like this. It needs to be like, you need to be on the mic. Like, you need to be on the face of the thing, or, So this was kind of what the betas was a long time coming, but we just never really, co-parenting and, parenting together. And
well, he has another band too. Like Kavoossi is more of like a harder rock punk, 3-piece band. It's really loud, and my voice is just not well suited for that genre in particular. So it's nice to be able to play things and write things with this lineup in mind too.
Yeah.
But he's a great songwriter. You have a lot that isn't recorded too.
I know I need to do that. I'm bad at that.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my next question. We was going to get in songwriting. But first, since we got a good background, everybody kind of knows one another now. Let's go through the pictures. I like to, and let them kind of elaborate on them.
There's pictures.
Baby pictures and
Well, I ain't no telling what's up there. Let's start with, just go down the list and
Nice.
we'll let him talk about
There's
it.
my strap, my spire.
yeah.
Adorable.
Yeah, so that was in the
There's
summer.
Sean,
I think
too.
that was my actual first gig. So my dad, he's from Iran, and he's a really good. It's called tombak or a zarb. It's like a hand drum that you put over your leg, and you play like all this like crazy shit that he does. He was like really good. Like he would not tour, but like he'd be flown out to California for like when people from Iran would come and play these places, and they needed a drummer. He was like on the call list. So
All right.
I grew up with him, and he'd have rehearsals and stuff. So I grew up with like the old like wood panel mixing boards and giant passive speakers. Like all that old PA stuff was always in my house growing up, and he knew how to do all that. So even that amp in this picture was one of his old amps from somebody that they had, and so I learned how to do sound on this old Yamaha powered amp, and this was in our like sunroom of our house. I think this was probably the first time I ever played it like in front of anybody with a band. But
Looks like an F-sharp power chord.
it was definitely a power chord.
It was like all the kids' moms were
Yeah.
the audience. It was just
I think-
family
Is
living
that the
room
drummer
show.
that you said?
Yeah,
That's
that's
him.
Sean Eller.
Get your
Yeah,
mom
man.
to buy some
So
drums.
I was there. I went over on Christmas Day when he got it, and he sat down and was like,
Really?
and all of us, his mom, his dad, and me, were all like, "How do you know how to do that?" He's like, "I don't know." We're like, what?
What?
Yes. I was like, this is awesome. So yeah, he like played drum beats. In the first few hours he got his drum set.
Wow.
It was an old Ludwig that was refinished in this like sparkly orange, and then his parents got him like rack toms for it, but it ended up being marching band rack top, like this like thing you wear as a waist.
Yeah.
And so we never got to use that, and then we got a regular kit eventually. But yeah, that's what that picture is. It's hilarious that I'm looking at this
That's
right here.
in our house right now.
It
I'm
is.
like,
That's
where
the
did
house
this
that
come
you're
from?
in. Okay.
No,
the
that picture is
pictures.
in a frame.
Oh,
I'm
the
thinking like, how
picture's
did
in the
somebody
house.
have this
Okay.
picture? But
Yeah, that's cool.
probably online, I guess.
Let's see what's
Yeah,
next.
Dave, he'll be stalking you guys.
I guess so. Look
Okay.
at my hair.
Trolling. Not stalking.
This is a
trolling.
funny photo, man. This is a hybrid of people in my band. So, Sean, my drummer, is on the right.
That's
and,
the little guy that started it all with you on
Yeah.
the right.
Yeah,
Yes,
and then on the
still.
very left is his cousin Tim. And once Sean and I started this little doobie thing, Tim was like always. We were like a trio of best friends, and so
Yeah.
we were like, Tim, like you should play bass. And he's like, oh, like, I don't want to play bass. I want to play guitar. So like, okay, but before that, we had this box, this like storage box, and Tim was like, I'll play it, and we called it the ghetto box. And he just played the ghetto box, and it was sticks on a box. And so we had like me and Sean like trying things out, and then be like, I don't know, I guess like to Tim, we'd be like, I guess just like hit that thing. And he's like, yeah, I don't know, what do I do? And eventually he got a bass, and that was the band, my first band, Common Addiction. And then the guy I'm standing next to is Brian Zelox, and he became he was a great guitarist. And so he ended up playing in my next band. My next band was called Think, and him and my friend Tyler would alternate guitar and bass depending on the song, and because they both had different kind of strengths and how they played. But that's what this picture. And I'm
So
wearing
is
some
this
ridiculous
about
shirt.
high school or beyond?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is probably like sophomore or junior year,
Okay.
maybe.
And is that a Scooby-Doo van?
That is yeah, we were at like a summer camp
Mystery
thing,
Machine.
and we all had
Mystery Machine. I couldn't remember the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. That's Common Addiction.
yeah. There's yes, that's me. My first professional day.
Now, when this picture was taken, were you thinking one day you'll be in South Georgia on a podcast and living with a beautiful girl?
Yes, as I was.
That's what that face says to me.
As I was
don't know if
pooping
you
in my
see
pants.
it. He's like,
He's thinking about
"You'll
that
be all
right then.
I was there. I was bald till I was like 3 or 4.
You do have a round
I
head.
didn't have
Look
hair
at
till
that.
I was like a toddler.
That's a cute.
That was our house in Spring Avenue. That was in Lanham, which was like not too far
cool.
from DC.
Okay.
Cutie.
There you go. Yeah, that's the Common Addiction Band.
Look at Sean's face.
Drinking as much
Look at all that
soda,
soda.
as much caffeine-free soda apparently as we can. That's called good parents. Somebody was like, you can have a party, but there's no caffeine.
No caffeine, guys. Don't even think about it.
Those were exciting days.
Yeah,
for
that was
sure.
our friend Dave's house. Man.
You know how you guys get on caffeine.
Annoying as hell.
A lot of sweat.
I think I had that same Batman shirt though,
Nice.
back in the day anyway.
Yeah, I think I had a CCS. Yeah. So the house that we were in that last picture was my friend Dave's house, and he drew that eyeball for us. And that was the first time we had any like image for merch and stuff.
Cool.
And I had just gotten into Photoshop. I was probably like 13 or 14 when we did this, so I learned how to like use a stroke and use like font sizes and realign. So
All
I
right.
did that, and like, you know,
So you added some to you kind of.
the Common Addiction words I
Yeah.
had come up. I like found that font and put the color scheme together, and then I think this one I just threw the eyeball between them and put the effect on that.
That's
too.
good.
Yeah. This was at a place called Woods Holy Grounds. This was like where we all the bands before they were able to play bars, we all played in this place. And look at that Tom angle. Ugh. It slaps on. So between this and my a friend of mine's, Laura, she had a thing called Manhattan Beach Club, which was literally just a rec center nearby this place. But that's where all the bands played. You know, awful acoustics, super loud, but everyone had like the best times. And a lot of the bands that are still playing now played together and went to each other's gigs back then. And that amp is my dad got me a 212 tube PV amp, which was my first tube amp, which was cool. Too loud. I eventually ended up getting a 4x12 that went beneath that. And so I had like a 6x12 speaker, ridiculous rig for no reason. But, you know, this was still the days where nobody was running sound or anything. So like that mic went
Your
to
amp
like,
was the sound. Of,
yeah, so we pushed it. There was no mic in it or anything.
Yeah, I used to play like half stacks and stuff.
Yeah, I know that era's like kind of gone now.
Yeah.
It seems ridiculous to bring that
Y'all
stuff.
looked cool as hell.
It did.
And I would imagine you'd probably been pretty interesting kids to talk to. I mean, look at this drummer's back there with a CBGB T-shirt on. You know, how'd he know about that?
We were huge Ramones fans and Misfits fans, and they were really into Metallica. I was more, I guess, into Sublime at the time. But we were definitely like punk rock kids.
Yeah. But this would have been what year?
This would probably be
Like early 2000s.
early 2000s, maybe like 2002, maybe
Okay.
2000. Yeah, probably like 2002. I was probably like 15.
So punk was classic by then, and y'all were just picking up on. Y'all just went back and said, "That's what we'll do."
Yeah, well, like I think Blink-182 was like big. Like Enema of the State had just come out around this time, I think, maybe a couple years before, which was like the new pop punk era
Yeah.
that was coming out, but it hadn't gotten like, so it was still fresh. But we liked that stuff, but yeah, like the Ramones and Misfits stuff was much more.
Did you have a good audience?
Yeah,
for
man,
that?
this place was cool. We had, I would say, like, 50 people or more would come out to all these, and it was all like, middle school and early high schoolers just
Like-minded,
hanging out, sitting on dirty
like-minded
couches.
friends.
Yeah. And a lot of those people I still see and hang out with today, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
The blue guy.
I got that sticker on my guitar case.
I
really?
do too,
Nice.
and I want to know how.
You don't know how?
No, I want to know how. Where I can't. My memory won't allow. where it came from. How did it?
I got my sticker from, I think y'all put it in the tip case or
Probably. I think we
something.
traded.
Yeah,
The
okay.
first time we were there, I met Connor.
Okay.
And we
Oh,
traded
yeah, okay.
stickers, and then
That's what it was.
Maybe one of y'all just had an extra or something.
that could be.
He makes his way around.
I'm
This blue
telling
guy
you,
is all over. Yeah.
I was wondering about that. Okay.
This was a doodle on a dry erase board in my apartment, and it originally was. It didn't have teeth, and I had a little message bubble that said "excellent loss." I just thought it was so funny to have like a really excited face congratulating somebody on doing a bad job, and people would like be like, "What is that guy?" And we had like doodles all over this thing, and people would always pick that out. And I think somebody said like that would be a cool sticker or something, and I was like, "Okay." So I put it in Photoshop and colored it in, and then I added the teeth and made stickers, and like it took off, and
It's one of the greatest.
I like that he has an ear.
Yeah.
Just the one.
Well, here, he
He
has
doesn't have
two.
a
You can't
nose,
see
but he
the
can
other
still hear you.
And it's got them two sprigs.
one. Yeah.
It's like a blueberry.
And that common, the common addiction artwork that
Oh,
your
you're
friend
right.
Dave did also had.
Oh, it
I was
did.
thinking,
That's
I was
right.
thinking, there's something.
There's a motif here.
Yeah, and it was a circle. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Subconscious.
thinking that by chance it could have grown out of that.
That's
somehow,
a really
but
interesting
yeah,
thought process. I've never noticed that, but yeah, I mean, it's very
I
similar.
like
in a lot
that
of
though.
ways.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Blue man,
Yeah.
blue boy,
He's the blue guy.
the
but,
blue guy.
you know.
All right, you
Almost.
said in the text on this, it said,
Oh, yeah.
"This
That
is
Liam
not
Neeson?
Kenny Loggins, and this is not me, but that is Kenny Loggins."
Yeah.
Right.
That is Kenny Loggins.
I'd
yeah.
recognize that Roman nose anywhere.
Yeah. So that's my brother-in-law Jeff in the middle, and he's also my bassist in my band now. I used to grow. I grew up going to see his band. He was the guitarist of a band called Power Movement Project, and they were pretty big. They played Baltimore like area and Maryland, and then they went down to Florida and did a couple records, and they were awesome. They were kind of like funk rock with a
What
little
was
bit
the name of
hip-hop.
his band?
Power Movement Project.
Power Movement.
And he had a studio. He's had a number of different like home studios and stuff. So he knows his way around all the world of audio too. And we started playing together. And his sister grew up with the girl who ended up moving to California and becoming Kenny Loggins' manager through like
How about that?
whatever. So she would go out and hang out with her. And one time she was like, "Yeah, like my brother is in a band." And showed him it and showed her the CD and or whatever this playlist, and she was like, "This is good," like you know. And then they kind of put the bug in her ear, like, "If you ever need an opener." And so this was outside of Chicago. We ended up opening up for Kenny Loggins.
Bang.
It was
Wow.
pretty cool, man. But we met him very briefly. He was like in his trailer the whole time. But we ended up hanging out with his band all night. We went back to a hotel and like. We're drinking in the lobby and just like telling stories. But it was pretty crazy to meet him, man. That was
Yeah, that's
pretty wild.
That's
And he
classic.
killed it, man.
Classic
Like,
rock
great
and roll
show.
right there. Or,
Yeah, I had no
I don't know
idea.
if
I mean,
you'd
like,
call it rock and roll, but he came out in the singer-songwriting in the 70s, kind of mellow.
Like
But he
yacht
can
rock.
rock. He can rock, too. He's
Yeah.
got a great voice.
we hadn't. I don't think any of us who went and involved in this process really knew. We knew all the songs, but we didn't know how many of these songs were kind of like
wrote a lot of
from like Pooh's Corner or whatever it's
Yeah.
called, like the Chris
Yeah.
Robbins
House at
song.
Pooh's Corner,
House at
yeah.
Pooh's Corner to like, I mean, obviously like the obvious ones like Danger Zone and stuff and
Yeah.
Footloose or whatever, but there's like this scope of like the even though we ain't got money, like
Yeah.
I didn't know that was him.
What? That was him?
Yeah,
that was,
and to put that together
Loggins
with
and
Danger
Messina.
Zone.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Loggins and Messina was.
But
So
that
I
ain't-
learned all about that, and that was pretty cool.
That was kind of like a soundtrack for me.
I
Yeah.
believe it. Yeah.
I met Michael McDonald in a country store,
Really?
and
He said,
he had a jacket on just like that.
I bet. Did he only talk in like a singing
Yeah, he's-
way?
I was like,
Sean said, "I'm Sean Clark." He said, Michael.
and I just walked up and said, "You don't know me, but I'm your brother."
Walking in Walgreens.
That's pretty cool.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Where's
So-
Ram's
Hey,
head?
nice shirt.
I know, right? It's the same one. I wish.
Is
I
it?
was here.
That,
Ram's Head isn't. So it's a corporate thing. They have multiple locations. This one happens to be in downtown Annapolis, and these two ladies are some of my best friends, but they're also incredibly talented singers in their own right. In the middle is Julie Simek, and she's the front woman for a band called Sweet Lita. And that's the rest of her band standing off to the side. Her husband on the far right, Jamie, and then Omar, their guitarist. And then Katie Jean, she's actually a PE teacher. She taught my son his 5th grade year, and she's a part of another band called the Grilled Lincolns, but she also will participate in musicals, and just an excellent singer. So fun to sing harmony with.
you remember what y'all were doing there?
I do. So this was a tribute show to Annapolis local musician. I cannot remember her name. That's horrible.
Doing one of
It's
her songs?
tribute.
My brain always wants to say Ella. Why can't I think of her
Etta
name?
James.
No.
Gosh, what is her name?
She
Fitzgerald?
died in the 90s. Yeah,
Why
will you
can't I
look
think of this
it
right
up?
now? I have to think about this. There's like a mural
That's
they just painted for
horrible.
her and stuff.
She actually,
Wait a minute. That's not. Was she blonde?
yeah.
Was she that girl that did Somewhere Over the
Yes,
Rainbow and
that's
all
her.
that?
Yeah. What
Well,
is her name?
You
Dang
got
it.
me, but I know who
Well,
you're
I'm
talking
sorry.
about.
She's probably
and she
listening.
was gifted.
She was
She-
incredible.
I
She
always mix
she
up her
left
name.
us too soon. Also,
Yeah,
so
and-
Ram's Head will do these tribute shows where people buy tickets and the proceeds go to a local organization called AMFM. And so this is one of those. I believe that was an AMFM event.
What?
So we sang.
Ava Cassidy.
Thank you.
That's
Good job.
Etta or Ella. Ava.
Ava.
Good
Ava
job.
Cassidy.
You were on the right
She-
track.
I watched a lot of YouTube videos on her probably 2 or 3 years ago. I just stumbled on her and just
Yeah.
went through it, and it was, whew, she was good.
Yeah.
She was good.
And it didn't. I don't know if she ever really made that level, of
Mm-hmm.
I know.
fame, but it was very, like cult,
Yeah.
Right.
a cult following type
For
thing.
sure.
I think people appreciate her now in a way that's appropriate for how great she was. But so we sang this song a cappella, and Julie is the kindest human ever. She was like, I really want each of us to have a turn singing lead. So we each got a verse, but that meant that we had to switch harmonies
Harmonies, yeah.
3 different times.
Oh wow.
And I was like, Julie, you really picked a good way to do this one. But then it was like a fun challenge, and it
Yeah.
was a reason to get together more and practice. They're just wonderful. We pulled it off.
Super impressive.
Good.
We got off that stage. See, people are just right up to the stage, and they're like down at your feet. It is one of the scariest rooms to
As
play.
they should be.
So it's terrifying. And it's a seated thing that goes off to the right and the left. So like you're surrounded by people, and they're all looking up
Yeah.
at you. And we got off stage like, how did you think it went? Like, I was like, I don't know, I blacked out. She's like, me too. I don't know what just happened.
Well, and these shows that they do is pretty cool. It's put on by a company or an organization called AMFM, which is the Annapolis Funds.
Yeah, you talk about that.
What is it? Annapolis Musicians Fund
Fund
for
for
Musicians. But this is like a fundraiser thing they'll do is these in the vein of shows. But what they do is there's like a ton of local musicians, and that's part of it. So like there's maybe 16 acts in 3 hours. So every person has 2 songs, usually an original and a cover. But that means that the switchover is like really rapid. There's no sound checks or anything. So like getting up there, first of all, it's already kind of hectic as an artist. You're like, okay, and then it's my turn. And then you get up there and there's like not really a sound check. Like, can you hear yourself? I think so. Okay,
Yeah.
go. You know?
Go, yeah.
So for like an a
Terrifying.
cappella
Chaos.
thing like that, to be harmonizing with each other, you don't have like frets to rely on.
Right.
So for them to be a nail on that was I know what it's like to be in that position. I can't imagine having no like true references. You're just on each other's notes. And
That was fun.
But they killed it.
Julie used to sing like choir in college, so she has training there. And because Katie does theater, she's like just both very experienced and accomplished, and some of the nicest people you could ever hope to meet. But
Yeah, they're good people.
we would like to continue making these connections with people that are active and playing around here for
Oh,
that
yeah.
reason. Like do some gig swapping and get some people down here just to show it off because, you know, this is my home.
We
It'd be
talked
nice to
about
share
doing a stagecoach tour on the East Coast.
We
sometime.
could definitely.
You know, where we just go
There you
find people like y'all and
Y'all would do well in Eastern Shore, Maryland, and even in Annapolis. There's a lot of people that just appreciate real human beings who are writing their own songs, and Annapolis has been a wonderful home for that. They've really, all of our friends are musicians, you know.
Cool.
It's very cool.
all right. That's the last one.
This photo thing was unexpected.
I
but
know.
great.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
Uh-oh, what are they going to pull up?
So now we're going to bring in your records.
Well, here's the
criminal
Kavoossi
charges.
website. Let's listen to a song off the Kavoossi website and see. Just go to mute. Yeah, there we go. Is this the band that opened for Kenny Loggins?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's you singing?
Yeah, so this record, the stuff that is on most of this album was mainly me, except for the drums and like violins. But then the newer stuff is my whole the guys in my band now, which like would be a song called, and Jessie's actually on this one called Ghosts that might be on this playlist, but.
Got a good, strong, high voice.
Yeah.
Great voice.
Thanks.
It's loud, though.
I am one. That's from playing those old gigs. You
He's
had to
loud.
yell. Like,
All right, this is Ghost with Jesse's on this one.
yeah.
This is the first song I've ever been a part of that made it to the radio, so that was kind of cool. We heard the WTMD's local radio station up where we
You
are.
remember hearing
Cool.
it for the first time on the
I do.
radio?
It was pretty cool. And my kids, you know.
That's you doing all that.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going to play just the solo, not just the singing.
Oh, that was it?
It picked like
It just-
Oh, they did
It's
go
just little samples.
segments.
yeah, it
Wow,
should be on any of
that
the streaming
sounds very
things.
good.
I'll have to get this a listen. I like it.
It's a good record.
Yeah.
What's the name of this one? Record.
And there's two S's.
Repent to
Two
Karma.
Oh, I don't know who that is. Two O's, two S's.
Yeah, who's the other one?
I don't know. We'll find out on the drive home. That was a Prince tribute show in the background of that picture, that website. There you go.
I've come to believe in ghosts. I've got all the faith. I trust that they know better than us what to do with this place. They don't need to want. They don't want to need. They don't gotta pay no bills, break no bones. Hell, don't got blood to bleed. They don't lose no teeth. Don't got tears to cry. Overachieving goals took care of the hardest part first. Now they don't even have to die. But I think we're doing okay.
There I am.
A broken heart still beating and one doing A-okay in the chase some ideas and ghosts. They don't feel no pain. Don't got dishes to do, laundry to fold. Don't even catch a cold. Going out in the rain, but ghosts
That's good change right there.
always win. How much you wanna bet? Those sheets with eyes must miss the sunbeams on their skin. And ghosts, sometimes they lose. So just remember that chances are slim you're coming across a ghost with good reviews. So I think we're doing okay. I'd rather have a broken heart still beating than one to remain okay in the grave. And on my dying day, I look back on the words I used to say. I've come to believe in us for what it's worth. I can't say I haven't seen good loving on this earth. Sometimes we're weak, and that's understood. But at the end of the day, I like to think we're doing pretty good. I think we're doing okay. I'd rather have a broken heart still beating than one to remain okay in the grave. And on my dying day, I look back on the words I used to say.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks.
Where was that album recorded?
That one was done at Right Way Studios in Baltimore. A guy
Sounds
named
great.
Steve Wright. Yeah, man, he's really cool. I don't do most of my stuff with him. I do most of my stuff with a guy named Frank Marchand, who's also a genius and a good friend of mine. But we did it. It was kind of cool to branch out and try someplace different and just kind of learn. You learn, you know how it is. Like
Right.
you learn so much when you go to a different studio and work with different people. You're like, whoa, I never thought, and learned a lot of interesting things. Like Steve Wright has a really good way of, like when I first emailed them about doing a song, he was like, yeah, like give me 3 bands you'd like to go on tour with if you had to pick of anybody, and 3 bands you would want this to sound like, or 3 songs, whatever. Which I was like, okay. Like, it was interesting, the touring thing. And so, like, I gave him all these things. I think we said, what, like Lake Street Dive and Wilco and I don't know what the other one was. Something else. And
Would not remember that.
and just, like, from a production standpoint, just the feeling of it. And he comes back, he's like, okay, so you want, like modern production but with, like, vintage feels and, like, well, I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, that's exactly what I want. Like, and so and then we got there and kind of just like hung out and, you know, kind of what we did earlier and got to just like make an easy vibe out of it all. And then every little bit of things, like, he's like, I noticed when you're singing that note, you're like squinting your eyes. Like, focus on not squinting your eyes when you sing that, and you won't sound so like, ee. And like little things that I've noticed now that I do.
Wow.
Or like just random techniques and just really like diving in mentally to each part of that song. And we learned a lot on that. And then the keyboardist or the organist on that was a guy, the keyboardist who plays for Clutch, which was kind of cool. He had the connection. He was like, I have a guy. And I was like, yes, that guy. So that's who's playing keys on there. But most of the rest, my first album was done at, with my friend Aaron Wold out of Baltimore also. There was a studio called Mobtown. And that was that was my first full-length like studio record experience, which was really cool. But nowadays, most of the other stuff is done with our guy Frank, which is also he's done over like 800 records. He tours the world with bands as an engineer, and he's a great guy. So we're lucky to have all the people that we do around town.
Well, that was a great song. Everything about it was well produced, and y'all did great. Y'all harmonized
Thanks.
well together.
Yeah,
You've got a beautiful voice too.
Thank you.
Sounds like you know exactly what you're doing. Ain't a bit afraid. And was that your first time in the studio, or have you been in the studio?
Technically, we recorded that in my son's bedroom.
Yeah,
My
her
part.
parts.
I
We did
never
her
went to
parts.
the cool studio.
You didn't?
I was at work.
How about
but
that? You just
we got it done in the bedroom anyway.
phoned it in.
I did. Yeah. No, I've never. I guess I've never done it. in
I know.
a
We
real
have a studio. We have studio dates booked with Frank for late April. That will be our first official time going in.
Okay, yay.
Yeah. I'm
And
excited.
actually, Julie and Jamie, who were in
You'll
that
love it.
photo, will
It'll
be
be a lot
playing
of
on
fun.
that too. And then 303 was the other song that we did. It was, I think that was the first time you were on Spotify or like streaming was 303.
Yeah.
Right. And then Ghost.
Which we also
but
recorded. What was that? Our
we
dining
did that.
room.
That was pandemic recording in
Is
our
that in
living
my
room.
closet?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that was in the little middle room.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
One of the rooms of my home.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Are y'all going to do some live today? Right?
Yeah. If that's what we want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We'd love to.
Well, I guess we should kind of get set up for that, right?
Yeah.
Take a little quick break, and we'll be right back.
You got to do a tale of the week, buddy.
Yeah, I shall do that as well. You want me to do it now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Music at the end.
Okay. Yeah. This is I blog and write a little bit of prose as well as songs. This comes from my Tale of the Week collection of short blogs, and this one has to do with fate, or as they say in somewhere, kismet. Where's the kismet from?
I don't know.
Hell, it might be Persia. Huh?
Could be. I have no idea. I've never heard that
Kismet.
word till right now.
Kismet. Yeah.
I'll Google.
Look it up, Shawnee. Here we go. In January of 2006, I was well into my fourth year working for Paul Lee at Crosstown Music, downtown Waycross, Georgia. We sold everything from Martin guitars and Korg keyboards to kazoos, and G-strings. Oh, how painful it is when you break a G-string while performing. Just ask any guitar player or pole stripper. One day, a fella posed to me an idea for a song with fate as its theme. He proceeded to tell me the story of a woman who is an ecological activist in her hometown. In the name of progress, the town's oldest oak tree was scheduled to be cut down. Facing off the bulldozers, the lady chained herself to the tree in an act so cavalier that the city caved and reversed its decision. She laughed and cried and rejoiced inside, knowing she had saved that old tree's life. Sometime later, out for a ride on a rainy night, the lady lost control of her car, crashed into the same oak tree, and died instantly. The story seemed spectacular and dripped with irony, but it got the gears turning in my right brain lobe, and I wound up with a song called Standing on a Corner. Chorus be like, we're standing on a corner, and little do we know, from the time we were born, we just choose a path and go. Sometimes we're rewarded, sometimes we're denied. All the time, we never know, we just take a chance and ride. Fate, chance, and irony have always been interesting and thought-provoking subjects to me as a historian of music. Billy Ray Heron, my songwriting buddy in Waycross and fellow Beatles fan for many years, threw this out for conjecture one afternoon. Young John Winston Lennon was only 4 years old when his father, Alfred, a merchant seaman, and mother, Julia, were divorced. When little John was 6, Daddy Alf paid a visit, taking his son to Blackpool, fully intent on squiring him away to New Zealand. John's mom, Julia, intuitively intervened, making sure the plan was quashed, thus ensuring that the Beatles, as we came to know them, would be born, providing generations with the joy and timeless genius of their music. A trivial moment in the grand scope of life, rendered hugely momentous through the hindsight of history. That's it. I mean, what if he'd gone to New Zealand? There wouldn't have been a Beatles. Probably.
AC/DC would have sounded a lot different.
AC/DC would have sounded real good, though. A few years later, another fateful decision lay in store for a young 21-year-old Waylon Jennings. Jennings had been hired by Buddy Holly to play bass in the Crickets during the Winter Dance Party tour, beginning January 23rd, 1959 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The tour also featured J.P. Richardson, also known as the Big Bopper of Hello, Baby.
Chantilly lace.
Chantilly Lace. Oh, also, he wrote a song that George Jones did, and doggone, my memory's lost. The tour also included the Big Bopper, Richie Valens, La Bamba, and Dion and the Belmonts. Run Around Sue. The buses hired to transport musicians from town to town were unheated. And this was January 23rd of 59 in Wisconsin. Midwest frozen. They were unheated and prone to breakdowns, forcing Buddy Holly's decision to charter a small plane in which he, Waylon, and guitarist Tommy Alsop would fly to their next stop following the February 2nd show in Clear Lake, Iowa. That's Waylon on the left, Buddy, and that's Tommy Alsop on the right. After their show on February 1st, the Big Bopper, suffering from the flu, asked Waylon for his seat on the plane. Waylon, being the good guy that he is, said, "Sure, Big."
I thought they drew straws. Or was that Metallica?
Waylon said, "Sure, Big." His name was Big Bopper. He said, "Sure, Big, you can have my seat."
Sure, Bopper. Bop.
Tommy Alsop, the guitar player, lost his seat to Richie Valens in a coin flip.
Oh, that's why. I knew there was some kind of contest.
On February 3rd, 1959, the Beechwood Bonanza aircraft crashed in a frozen cornfield just outside Clear Lake, killing all on board. The date was memorialized as the day the music died by singer-songwriter Don McLean in his 1971 hit American Pie. I'm sure Waylon and Tommy Alsop scratched their heads and wondered why it was them who were spared while the others had died. I'm reminded of,
You know what Waylon, last thing he said to him?
yeah.
Is that in your story? I don't know.
No, I forgot about that. that made this look like Waylon was evil. You know what he said.
He said, they said something to him first, and he's like, "Well, I hope your plane crashes."
Oh, no.
And that was the last thing he said to
now
him.
that's heavy. And you know he had to
Oh, yeah.
deal with that.
Wow.
Well, it reminds me of, I'm reminded of and reassured by the beautiful and plaintive chorus in the Southern gospel song, Farther Along, which, as one story says, it was written in 1911 by the Reverend W.A. Fletcher as he was traveling by train to the Indian territories. And now, of course, it's been done and redone by everybody, but I think this is one of the best right here.
Farther along.
Farther along.
Genius.
Tempted and tried, we're often made to wonder why it should be thus all the day long, while there are others living about us, never molested, going the wrong. Father alone will know all about it.
It's like barbershop.
Father alone will understand why. Cheer up, my brother, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by.
That's enough. You can do a fade down right there. I'm about to have a come apart over here. That's so pretty. Yeah. Beautiful song. I mean, it says it all, kind of.
Kismet is Turkish.
Okay, you're
Just
close.
Persian at
For
one
fate.
point. Yeah.
Right?
That means fate.
Fate. Yeah.
Fate.
Well, we'll be right back, folks, with some music.
Something in my brain won't let me stray. Something in my veins gonna find its way. Something in the water taught me how to pray. When that cold black water finds its way into your veins, you'll never be the same.
Hey, we're the Betas. My name's Jessie, and this is Charlie, and we're so happy to be here playing some songs with you guys on There's Something in the Water.
This one's called All Hat and No Cattle.
You stop in almost every day. It seems you always got some big shit to say. You talk about the big truck you got. I bet you park over the lines in the parking lot. Catchphrases and Levi jeans, poor excuses and you know what I mean. Looks like I'm dealing with an uphill battle. All I'm seeing is a man who's all hat and no cattle. You tell me to come over, we can blow off steam. Microwave nachos and sour cream. Lucky me, I get to watch you yell and scream while your fantasy is failing with your football team. Oh baby, you say it's all good. Bed corners up like your morning wood. Baby, I'm afraid you leave me nothing to straddle. See, I'm sitting here looking at all hat and no cattle. Maybe you just don't understand. Can you explain it like a big strong man? No, you're right, it's all on me. I'll try to listen more carefully. See, I wanna believe you, and that's no joke. But you don't make it easy when you're blowing smoke. Big old clouds of cotton candy grape. And no, I don't have a charger for your big boy vape. Don't wanna wrap it up because you think you're slick, and call you Mr. Monday cause you come too quick. You won't be the one to get me back in the saddle. See, you need to give me more than all that, no cattle. Maybe you just don't understand. Let me explain it, should I hold your hand? No, you're right, it's all on me. I'll try to listen more carefully.
right.
We just wrote that one. That one's a new one, and currently our only like performable new one. We have a couple others that are some just words and some just melody, but that was inspired by my grandfather, who likes to say just off-color phrases like that. You don't hear that as much anymore, and we love to write songs about it. All of his little phrases are great song material.
That's our first official Betas song. So
Yeah.
we'll be heading into the studio soon to do that. This next song is kind of a play on words with believing in ghosts and in thinking about it in terms of having faith in that they can do it. And it goes like this. I've come to believe in ghosts. I've got all the faith. I trust that they know better than us what to do with this place. They don't need to want. They don't want to need. They don't gotta pay no bills, break no bones. Hell, don't got blood to bleed. They don't lose no teeth. Don't got tears to cry. Overachieving ghosts took care of the hardest part first. Now they don't even have to die. But I think we're doing okay. I'd rather have a broken heart still beating than one doing A-okay in the grave. And on my dying day, I look back on the words I used to say. I've come to believe in ghosts. They don't need careers. Don't gotta set an alarm or roll out of bed at 7 a.m. for the next 30 some odd years. And ghosts, they don't feel no pain. Don't got dishes to do, laundry to fold. Don't even catch a cold going out in the rain. But ghosts don't always win. How much you wanna bet those sheets with eyes must miss the sunbeams on their skin? And ghosts, sometimes they lose. So just remember that chances are slim you're coming across a ghost with good reviews. So I think we're doing okay. I'd rather have a broken heart still beating than one doing A-okay in the grave. And on my dying day, I look back on the words I used to say. I've come to believe in us. For what it's worth, I can't say I haven't seen good loving on this earth. Sometimes we're weak, and that's understood. But at the end of the day, I'd like to think we're doing pretty good. I think we're doing okay. I'd rather have a broken heart still beating than one doing A-okay in the grave. And on my dying day, I look back on the words I used to say. That was called Ghosts.
What do you think?
All right.
303, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's do.
So this song was written for me by Charles as a Valentine's Day present in the middle of the pandemic, because we were both jobless for a long time. So about the only thing he could afford to give me was a song he wrote. But it was the best ever. And this is that. I'm lucky that I get to sing it with him.
All right. 303. When I turn the key at 303 and the light is on again, I wonder if you're writing songs or something clever with a pen. So I climb the stairs up to our room. The fifth one starts to creak, and you sneak out of our door and lay your lips upon my cheek, and you say, baby, I'm so glad you're home. And I'm glad I'm home too. So I head back down and grab a seat of water for the night, but you're already fast asleep by the time I'm turning out the lights. So I lay down beside you with my mind that's on the run, planning out tomorrow's dance before I see the morning sun. And I think, baby, I'm so glad you're home. Yeah. And I'm glad I'm home too. In the morning we wake up and we both turned on our sides, and with morning breath we kiss, and then we both apologize. And you say to me I love you, and I say I love you too. Well, there's no one on this earth I'd rather have to help me through. You're a good friend to me, everything there is to be. You're a good friend to me, through all my faults and woes. You're a good friend to me, everything there is to be. And with a smile then you say, now that I'm with you, I am home. And I guess I'm home too. That was called 303.
Hey, welcome back. Wasn't that good?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Yes, sirree.
Y'all are good.
Thanks.
No, really good. Really good chemistry
Thank you.
and harmonies. And it's
We
awesome.
enjoy
Well,
it.
thanks.
Songwriting.
Yeah.
Definitely a lucky thing we get to be doing. So, yeah.
Convenient to take the money all to the same house, you know.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, well, I love songwriters and husband and wife duos. Seems like that's the perfect combination, you know.
Well, yeah, I
It
think
comes out, you know, in your performance together.
There's a lot there, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot
It
there.
works out.
There's too good. We've often commented on this on the podcast. Hank Williams and Anita Carter. Watched one of those early black and white episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Today I passed you on. I can't help it if I'm still in love with you. Now they
Yeah.
weren't married,
Oh,
but you just got to watch this video and see what it does to her. She's sitting on a hay bale and starts singing the song. Then you see this shadow moving towards her off camera. And then Hank Williams stands up there and props his foot up on the hay bale and sings the next verse.
And she
And
melts.
she just,
She's like,
those eyes. Oh, God. And the other one is Rita Coolidge and Chris Christopherson. when they were married.
Okay.
They did a
That was
song
soft.
together.
That was like soft porn watching that.
I swear to God, it was on
They were like
Spicy.
on one mic, like
Take the Ribbons.
so close to each other. It was like, what the heck, y'all?
What's the name
Get
of
a
that?
room.
I can't. It's so sad. Help me make it through the night. That's the song on that one. So there's two that I suggest y'all
Yeah.
watch
We'll check that
when
out.
you're alone. Yeah.
What's next on your agenda? Music.
Thursday, tonight we're gonna catch the open mic night, and thanks for pushing things a little earlier so we could make the most of a Monday night. And we'll promote our shows for this weekend. One being at Wolf Oyster Island Restaurant Brewing.
Wolf Island Oyster Co.
I'll say it wrong every time. You can bet
This
money
will have
on
already
that.
happened by the time.
Yeah.
Oh
This
yeah, that's
comes out.
right. That's right.
So we'll be back in October though.
All right.
Next
There
on the
you go.
agenda, other than some gigs coming up, is
Oh,
in
we're recording.
late April. We're going into the studio
That's true.
Boy,
to
I
do
can't
2
wait.
full band recordings.
Well, let's get y'all back in October then. When you're
Absolutely.
back down
Yeah,
here,
that's
we'll
the
have y'all
plan, is to
back
be
on
back in
again.
October.
Y'all might
Well-
end up being our 100th show. Who knows?
Hey.
All
That'd
right.
be pretty
Crazier things have happened, right? We'll get you guys up near us too.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got a lot of folks that
Love
would
that.
enjoy seeing
And
you.
thanks for the gifts.
Yeah,
of course.
Thank
Thanks
you
for having
too.
us on here.
They
Yeah,
give
yeah, we
everybody T-shirts. Y'all know
Rock
that?
on. And Aunt Lynn, honey, I'll be coming home hard and fast now, but I'm bringing with you.
A little pickle. No.
And that's true in more ways than 3. And some angel wings.
They're
Angel-
little fish. In
Oh,
lieu
they're
of
little
our
fish.
logo,
betta
our little
That's
mascot is a
awesome.
beta fish.
Oh, yeah, beta fish.
Yeah.
What's the pickles got to do with it?
You know, I just ordered them because I think
She'll
that's funny.
love 'em.
Somebody else
Yeah.
will too.
She will love them.
And
I
my
know she
dad
will.
saw all of our merch and stuff, and I was like, "Well, we should take some things to him." He specifically suggested that I
Well,
bring her
he knows her
the
well.
little pickle earrings. You know where to find your pickle earrings. Contact the betas. We'll get you hooked up.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all again.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
us.
This has been fun.
No, we've enjoyed it. Thank you. We'll come back anytime.
All right. And y'all out there, I want y'all to come back anytime too, but make it the next time. And be sure and like and subscribe and hit all them bells and whistles that you're supposed to do because it helps us. And we'll see you then.
Skin it back.
When the cold black water finds its way across through your veins, it just might seal your fate. It just might seal your fate. It just might seal your fate.